think you should read it again." My hands don't shake when I say it. That surprises me. My mother's smile freezes across the dining table. My stepfather slowly lowers his glass. My sister looks annoyed, like I just interrupted her victory speech. "The lawyer already read it," my stepfather says. I pull the second document from my bag and place it gently on the table between the wine glasses and untouched dessert. "No," I say calmly. "He read the wrong one." Silence. The air feels thick inside my grandmother's house in Savannah, the same house they said now belongs to my sister. My mother laughs nervously. "Sweetheart, that's not funny." I'm not joking. I slide the envelope forward, the one my grandmother pressed into my hands 3 months before she passed, the one she made me promise not to open unless something felt wrong. Something felt very wrong. My sister reaches for it first. I put my hand on top of the papers. "Call the lawyer," I say. And for the first time since the funeral, I see fear in my stepfather's eyes. "My name is Sienna Brooks. I'm 24, and I'm telling this because sometimes the quiet daughter knows more than everyone thinks." Before my grandmother passed away, my life was simple. I worked part-time at a bookstore near River Street in Savannah. I shared a small apartment with chipped white walls and a balcony that faced a parking lot. Nothing glamorous, nothing dramatic. But every Sunday, I visited my grandmother. She lived in the old 2-story house with blue shutters and a magnolia tree in the front yard. The house my mother grew up in. The house full of framed photos and lace curtains and the smell of vanilla candles. My grandmother and I were close in a quiet way. We didn't need long conversations. Sometimes we just sat on the porch and watched the street. My sister, Harper, rarely visited. Harper was my mother's favorite. Confident, loud, always dressed perfectly. She worked in real estate and liked to remind everyone how much money she made. "Grandma's house is prime property," she once said, walking through the living room like she was already measuring it. "If she ever sells, that land alone is worth a fortune." Grandma didn't answer. She just looked at me. 3 months before she passed, she asked me to help her organize some old papers. We sat at the dining table while the afternoon light came through the windows. At one point, she held my hand. "Sienna," she said softly, "not everyone who smiles at you wants the best for you." I thought she was just being old-fashioned. Then she gave me a sealed envelope. "Keep this safe," she whispered, "and don't open it unless something felt wrong." I didn't ask questions. I trusted her. When she passed away, it felt like the air had been taken out of my lungs. The funeral was small. My mother cried loudly. Harper wore designer black and checked her phone between hugs. The official will reading happened a week later. We sat in a polished office downtown. My stepfather, Daniel, kept his arm around my mother like he was protecting something. The lawyer cleared his throat and began reading. The house, the savings, the investment accounts, all left to Harper. Every word felt like a door closing. My mother squeezed Harper's hand and smiled proudly. Daniel looked at me and said, "Your grandmother knew Harper would handle things responsibly." I didn't speak. I just nodded, because arguing would have made me look jealous, emotional, dramatic. That night, we gathered at the house for dinner. Harper walked around like it was already hers. "I'll probably renovate the kitchen. Open concept, modern cabinets." My mother agreed instantly. I stood in the hallway staring at the magnolia tree outside the window. Something felt wrong. Not jealousy. Wrong. Grandma was traditional, fair, careful. She always said, "I don't believe in favorites," and yet she left everything to Harper? After dinner, I went home and sat on my bed staring at the sealed envelope. My hands hovered over it for almost an hour. I remembered Grandma's eyes when she gave it to me, the seriousness in her voice. "Unless you need to." I slowly opened it. Inside was another will, signed, dated 2 years after the one the lawyer read. This version divided everything equally between Harper and me, and at the bottom, in shaky handwriting, was a note. If this document is not presented, it means someone has chosen greed over family. My chest felt tight. Someone had hidden this. Someone had known. And the only people with access to Grandma's paperwork were my mother and Daniel. That was the moment I understood. This wasn't a mistake. It was planned. And I had just been underestimated. Before we continue, if you like this story, please subscribe our channel for more stories. I don't confront them right away. That's the first smart thing I do. Instead of storming back into the house in Savannah, I breathe. I sit on my bed with the second will spread across my lap, and I think, Grandma didn't panic when she gave this to me. She prepared, so I prepared too. The next morning, I call the law office that handled the reading. My voice is calm. Hi, this is Sienna Brooks. I attended the will reading last week. I believe there may be a more recent document. There's a pause. The receptionist transfers me to Mr. Halburn. I'm sorry, he says carefully. We presented the latest will we were given. Given by who? I ask. Your stepfather. Of course. I hang up and stare at the wall. My chest burns, but I refuse to cry. Crying won't fix this. I take the envelope and walk to a different attorney's office across town. A smaller firm, less polished, less connected to my family. The name on the door reads Alvarez and Finch. Inside, a woman in her 30s with sharp eyes and a navy blazer listens while I explain everything. Her name is Tessa Alvarez. She studies the document carefully. This is valid, she says finally. Signed, dated, witnessed. If this was intentionally withheld, that's serious. My stomach tightens. What happens now? We verify it with the probate court, quietly. And we don't alert your family yet. Quietly. I like that word. For the next week, I live two lives. In one life, I play the quiet daughter who accepted defeat. I attend a family dinner at the house. Harper talks about listing the property within 6 months. Daniel discusses potential buyers like he's already counting commission. My mother avoids looking at me too long. In my second life, I gather evidence. Tessa requests certified copies of both wills from the probate clerk. We compare dates. The one Daniel submitted is older, by 2 years. We also discover something interesting. Grandma changed attorneys shortly before drafting the newer will. She didn't use Mr. Halpern for the updated document. She used a different lawyer in Atlanta. That means Daniel would have known the newer will existed, which means he chose not to present it. The realization makes my hands cold. This isn't a misunderstanding. This is strategy. Tessa leans back in her chair. If we file this with the court, it triggers a review. Your family will be notified. Will they get in trouble? If it's proven they knowingly concealed it, there could be legal consequences, financial penalties, possibly more. I think about my mother. I think about how she clapped when Harper was announced as sole heir. Did she know? Or did Daniel convince her? I don't know which answer hurts more. Meanwhile, Harper starts texting me links to apartments. You should probably start looking soon, she writes. I'll need the house cleared out before staging. Staging. Like Grandma's life was just furniture to rearrange. I type back, of course. Then I screenshot every message. Tessa tells me to document everything. Every conversation, every date, every statement that shows they believe the property was solely Harper's. We move carefully. She files a petition with the probate court in Chatham County to recognize the newer will. It's official now. There's no going back. 3 days later, Daniel calls me. His voice is tight. Did you file something with the court? I pretend confusion. I'm not sure what you mean. Don't play games, Sienna. Games. That word makes something shift inside me. I just wanted to make sure Grandma's final wishes were respected, I say softly. Silence on the line. Then he says, You're making a mistake. No, I reply. I think someone else already did. He hangs up. That night, I sit on my balcony and stare at the dark parking lot. My heart pounds, but not from fear, from clarity. For years, I was the quiet one, the emotional one, the easy one to overlook. They thought I would nod and disappear. They never imagined I would read the fine print. 2 days later, we receive notice. A court hearing has been scheduled. Both wills will be examined. All parties must attend. Tessa looks at me across her desk. Are you ready for this? I think about Grandma's handwriting at the bottom of that page. If this document is not presented, it means someone has chosen greed over family. I fold my hands. Yes, I say, because this isn't just about money anymore. It's about truth, and I'm done being the quiet daughter. The courtroom in downtown Savannah feels smaller than I expected. Or maybe it just feels tight because my mother won't look at me. Harper sits straight-backed in a cream blazer, legs crossed, jaw set. Daniel leans toward their attorney, whispering every few seconds like he's trying to control the weather. I sit beside Tessa, calm, still, watching. The judge enters. Everyone rises. My pulse pounds in my ears, but my face stays neutral. I've practiced this in the mirror for days. Steady expression, soft eyes, controlled breathing. This is the strike. Daniel's attorney speaks first. He calls the newer will suspicious, claims Grandma was confused in her final years. Confused. The word makes heat rush up my spine. Grandma balanced her own investment portfolio at 78. She corrected my grammar. She remembered birthdays without reminders. Confused? No. Strategic? Yes. Tessa stands when it's our turn. Her voice is clear and sharp. We have a legally executed will dated 2 years after the version submitted by Mr. Brooks, she says, signed, witnessed, and notarized by a different firm in Atlanta. She hands copies to the clerk. Daniel shifts in his seat. Tessa continues, we also have evidence that Mr. Brooks was aware of this updated will. The room shifts. My mother finally looks at me. Daniel's attorney objects, but the judge motions for Tessa to continue. She calls our first witness. An older man with silver hair walks to the stand. His name is Mr. Clayton, the attorney from Atlanta who drafted Grandma's updated will. I met with Mrs. Eleanor Brooks twice. She was clear and firm in her instructions. She wished to divide her estate equally between her granddaughters. Harper's fingers tighten around her purse. Daniel stares straight ahead. Did she appear confused? Tessa asks. Not at all, Mr. Clayton replies. She specifically mentioned concerns about fairness. Fairness. The word hangs in the air. Then comes the surprise. Tessa presents a certified letter sent from Mr. Clayton's office to Daniel, dated 2 years ago, confirming the existence of the new will and advising him to update any stored records. Daniel's face loses color. The judge leans forward. Mr. Brooks, were you aware of this document? Daniel clears his throat. I don't recall receiving that. Tessa doesn't flinch. We have the signed delivery confirmation. The clerk hands it to the judge. My heart pounds so hard I can feel it in my throat. This is it. The moment the story cracks open. Daniel's attorney requests a short recess. Outside in the hallway, Harper finally turns on me. You're trying to embarrass us, she hisses. I meet her eyes. I'm trying to respect Grandma. This is about money. No, I say quietly. This is about not being erased. Her expression flickers, just for a second. Back inside, the judge speaks firmly. Given the evidence presented, this court recognizes the later will as valid, pending final verification. Additionally, the concealment of a known updated will is a serious matter. Serious matter. Daniel swallows. The judge orders a formal review of Daniel's actions as executor. My mother gasps softly. Harper looks like someone just pulled the ground out from under her, and I just sit there, still. Because the strike isn't loud. It's precise, but it's not over. As we leave the courthouse, reporters stand near the steps. Apparently, estate disputes involving historic properties in Savannah attract attention. One microphone gets too close. Miss Brooks, do you believe your stepfather intentionally withheld the will? Daniel shoots me a warning look. For years, I would have stayed silent. Not today. I believe my grandmother trusted the wrong person to carry out her wishes, I say calmly. That's all, but it's enough. By evening, Daniel calls an emergency family meeting. We gather at the house again, the blue shutters, the magnolia tree, the same dining table. But the energy is different now. Daniel doesn't sit at the head. He stands. This has gone too far, he says. We can settle this privately. Privately, meaning quietly, meaning without consequences. Tessa warned me this might happen. Offers, pressure, emotional manipulation. My mother's eyes are red. Sienna, please, we're family. Family didn't stop them from hiding the truth. I am family, I say softly. Harper crosses her arms. What do you want? The question hangs there. Money, control, apology? I think about Grandma's note again. Greed over family. I want the will honored exactly as written, and I want the court review to continue. Daniel's jaw tightens. You're making enemies, he says. I hold his gaze. No, I reply. I'm exposing them. Silence fills the room. For the first time in my life, I'm not the overlooked daughter. I'm the one holding the leverage, and they know it. The final hearing is scheduled 3 weeks later. 3 long, tense weeks. Daniel avoids me completely. Harper stops texting. My mother sends short messages that say things like, I hope you're sleeping, as if this is about rest. But I sleep fine, because for once, I'm not doubting myself. The courtroom in Savannah feels different this time. Not smaller, clearer. The review is complete. Daniel sits stiff beside his attorney. Harper looks pale. My mother clutches a tissue in her hands. The judge begins reading the findings. The later will is confirmed valid. The delivery confirmation from the Atlanta law office is authenticated. The court determines that Daniel, acting as executor, failed to disclose a known, updated will. The words are calm, professional, but they land heavy. As a result, Daniel is removed as executor of the estate. A neutral third-party administrator will oversee the division of assets. Additionally, Daniel is ordered to cover legal costs associated with the dispute. My mother exhales like something inside her just collapsed. Harper stares straight ahead. And me? I feel steady. Not victorious, not cruel, just steady. After the hearing, Daniel tries to approach me outside the courthouse. This didn't have to happen, he says quietly. Yes, it did, I answer. You could have talked to us. I tried, I say. You told me Grandma knew best. His expression tightens. She did, I add, and I walk away. The estate process takes 2 more months. The house is appraised, the savings are calculated, the investment accounts are divided exactly as written in Grandma's final will. 50-50. No renovations, no secret listings, no quiet transfers. The magnolia tree still stands in the yard when Harper and I meet one last time inside the house. It's strange being alone, together without our parents. She walks through the living room slowly. I really thought she chose me, Harper says. She didn't choose one of us. She chose both. Harper sinks onto the couch. I didn't know about the second will, she says finally. I study her face. For the first time, she doesn't look confident or polished. She just looks human. Did Mom know? I ask. She hesitates. I think Daniel handled everything. Mom trusted him. That hurts in a different way. Not betrayal, weakness. We sit in silence for a long moment. Then Harper says something I never expected. I'm sorry. It's not dramatic. It's not tearful, but it's real. I'm not your enemy, I tell her, but I won't disappear for you either. She nods slowly. The house is eventually sold. Not in a rush, not staged like a showroom, but respectfully. The profit is split evenly. I use my portion to open a small independent bookstore near the river, a place with soft lighting and reading chairs and shelves that reach almost to the ceiling. On opening day, I hang a small framed copy of Grandma's handwritten note behind the counter. If this document is not presented, it means someone has chosen greed over family. Customers think it's a quote from a novel. I know it's a warning. Daniel's reputation takes a hit in town. Nothing dramatic, just whispers, quiet distance. He steps back from handling financial matters for anyone outside immediate family. My mother calls me more often now, not to argue, just to talk. There's a fragility in her voice I've never heard before. One evening, months later, she visits the bookstore. She walks slowly between the shelves. You were braver than I was, she says. I don't respond right away. I was protecting what Grandma wanted, I tell her. She nods. I should have asked more questions. Yes, I say gently, you should have. But I don't say it with anger. Because revenge, I've learned, isn't about destruction. It's about correction. It's about refusing to be erased. I lock up the bookstore that night and step outside into the warm Savannah air. The river glows under the streetlights. The city hums softly around me. For years, I believed being quiet meant being weak. But quiet doesn't mean powerless. Sometimes it means patient. And patience, when used at the right moment, can change everything. My grandmother trusted me with the truth, and I made sure it was heard.